What's up?
What's up?
It's been a long time.
As very long time.
You 03, I graduated 04. Yeah. 16 years for me, 17 for you. I was studying Lewis last night. I was like, man, I'm excited to see Arthur.
I'm excited to be here. First of all, I haven't seen you in a long time. I haven't seen Lewis in a long time, and thankfully I got to see him not too long ago, but I haven't been down south in a very, very long time.
When was the last time you visited FIU's baseball stadium?
Well, recently when Mike Mendez had that ceremony.
You were there?
I was there.
Okay.
But before that, I can't even tell you.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Not because I didn't want to. Just because my life has taken me north and taken me away from everything that I knew down south.
So where's home now?
Aventura.
Oh, you live in Aventura?
Mm-hmm.
It's nice out there.
Yeah, it's a nice place. Congested, but nice place.
Nice, bro.
Yeah.
Good restaurants, dude.
Yes.
Near the water?
No, I'm not near the water, but I mean, I'm close to the water. I'm not far away. I mean, it's literally a hop, skip, and a jump to the beach. So I'm
That's
there. Cool. We're there occasionally.
So you're married?
I am.
How many kids?
2 kids. I have a stepdaughter from my wife's previous marriage, but that's my daughter. That's my firstborn, I call her. I had her when she was 7.
Okay.
And she's about to turn 17, so going on 10 years now. And we have a 5-year-old boy.
We're getting old, bro.
We are.
I'm 40,
but
dude.
I enjoy it, though. Let me tell you something. I always say this. Getting older is a privilege.
It is, bro.
It absolutely is a privilege. It means you've been able to spend more time with the people you love. You've been able to experience more things. You know, I think it's a privilege, and I don't think people should be ashamed of getting older.
No, I know, dude. I turned 40 July 29th.
Nice, congrats.
So I hit the 4th deck, and I have an 8-year-old and I have a 7-year-old.
Nice.
So, and Olivia will be 9.
Boy, girl, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I had my girl first, and then I had my boy.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, so let's get into it, bro.
Let's do it.
We were at FIU.
Yes.
We had great times.
Awesome times.
Numerous times. Sometimes some stuff we just can't talk about on camera. We'll keep it that way.
Of course.
No, but so you get drafted by the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of lost touch with you there.
Yeah.
Where did Arthur go?
I got drafted by the Red Sox, and I went to play short season A-ball.
Okay.
Up in the New York Penn League in Lowell, Massachusetts, for the Lowell Spinners. I spent half a season there, had a great season. Then I went to Augusta, Georgia, with the Red Sox as well. I had a very up and down year. I will say this, the very first game, the second pitch I threw, I had my hand broken. And that literally just kind of wiped the entire year away from me. So I spent...
How'd you break your hand?
I had a line drive hit right back at my hand. Yeah.
Wow.
By Matt Esquivel, which, ironically enough, the following year ends up being my roommate.
Wow.
Yeah. So went there, and then from there, long story short, ended up making my way to the Braves organization, and then made my way to the Kansas City Royals organization, and then made my way to the New York Mets organization.
I remember you and I can't recall when it happened, but I know that you had a pretty bad arm injury that kind of really, in some sense, ended your career.
Yeah. So
where was that? Was that a shoulder injury?
It was an elbow injury.
Tommy John, Arthur?
No. I didn't have Tommy John, and I was on the verge of having Tommy John. So what ended up happening was I was with the Kansas City Royals at the time. I was let go during spring training, and then I was picked up by the Mets. And when I went to the Mets organization, they had already broken camp, so they didn't have a spot for me in AA at the moment, so I had to hang back in Port St. Lucie. I got to throw with the high A team, but at that time, a couple games into me being with the New York Mets, I had a bit of an elbow injury. So they sent me to go get checked out. They advised not to do surgery in the moment. They said surgery would be sometime down the future, down the path, but not right away. I rehabbed. I started to get better. I was released from my contract while I was in rehab with the Mets. I came back home. I started to throw again, and then I had another setback. So I had already rehabbed for about 5.5 months. Started to throw again, get ready, and then I had another setback. And then that's when I had surgery with Dr. Heckman.
Wow. Heckman, he used to be our doctor at FIU. So what year did the minor league baseball come to an end?
For me, contractually, 2010.
So you went to 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, dude.
From 2003 to 2010.
What was that like?
It was awesome. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I have no regrets in my life. I can say that. I have no regrets whatsoever. Everything has been a process, and everything has led me to this point here sitting in front of you.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, and it's crazy. So, how was your transition after baseball?
After baseball, it was all right. I knew at that moment I did not want to go through the process of having to rehab again.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I would have been out of the game already for close to 2 years. You know, from pitching in a live game, 1.5 to 2 years, and I didn't feel like I wanted to go through that process anymore. I felt I felt it was like my time to just kind of move forward. You know,
I know, and it's funny how you kind of I realized that,
mm-hmm.
and then it hit me when I was home.
Yeah.
But what hit me was it wasn't so much baseball. Like I knew I was done playing baseball. Like I was okay with that.
Yeah.
It was the whole transition of like, shit, what am I gonna do now?
Yeah.
That hit me like a bag of bricks, dude.
I had no idea because for the longest time, the only thing I thought about was playing ball, and I think a lot of us thought the same exact thing.
We did.
I believe the majority of us, whether you're in high school or whether you're in college and you're playing ball, you kind of figure like this isn't going to end. You're going to be able to continue to play. Only till later do you realize that very cliche saying that I used to always hear as a student athlete, where it's like I don't know if it's 80 or 90% of student athletes are going to become a professional in something else other than sports.
Yeah.
You know,
And it never applies to you.
but it never applied. It never entered my mind. You know, and when I got to play professional baseball, for me it was just the natural progression of my life. I had planned to play professional sports. And I was in that moment playing professional sports.
And you did.
Yeah.
And so you're with the Red Sox,
Mm-hmm.
FIU, Red Sox, Kansas City. You go through the whole process. Yeah. You leave baseball when you're how old?
I left baseball just before I was 30.
Just before you're 30.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What happens next there? Where did Arthur go after that?
I had no idea what I was going to do. Yeah. I can tell you that much.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah, I had no idea what I was going to do. I went back to school. To try to finish my degrees because I was working on 2 degrees. So I went back to school to finish my degrees. And before I could finish my degrees, at the time, I was doing CrossFit.
Okay.
Right? And I drank the Kool-Aid just like almost everybody else did as well.
Okay.
But while I was doing that, I really became enamored with it. So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the process. I really enjoyed everything that came with it. So for me, the next step was, well, I want to see if I can do this for a living. So then I became a trainer while I was going to school.
Cool.
And then after being a trainer for about a year, I said, I think I can do this on my own. I think I can open up my own facility, and I think I can be a business owner, and I think I can be successful doing this. So school stopped, and then I went into the process of opening up my own facility.
It's funny. I know a lot of people that got into CrossFit, and we started off as a simple, you know, your day-to-day routine workout ends up becoming kind of like a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And people who own boxes and really got into like whether or not they owned a CrossFit facility or they opened up a gear shop or they made shirts for, I mean, whatever the case may be. But it's funny how CrossFit really evolved so fast.
Absolutely.
And the community just
took off. Ran with it.
I think, you know how I got into CrossFit?
How?
Raul Garcia, dude.
Yeah.
I ran into Raul Garcia in Brickell. I don't know what we were doing, and he tells me, we started talking. He's like, have you ever done CrossFit? I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about, dude. And I went to I Am CrossFit, where Nick Alvarez is the owner, where you started.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, I was doing insurance. I was like, bro, that's like, for a guy like myself who actually likes to stay in shape, that's probably as out of shape as I've probably ever been. And I did a couple box jumps, and Arthur, my legs were shaking, dude.
Yes.
And I was like, bro, but my ego was like, nah, dog. Like,
I think we've all experienced.
You know, like, no way, bro. Like, I thought literally I had cement blocks on my legs. And then one thing led to the other, and I really enjoyed the workout. I did some competitions, local, recreationally.
Me too.
And I kind of found my, I was able to, whatever, it wasn't like baseball, but like my competitive juices to like, to do, to like use them there. And I've met a lot of people in my life. I've built a lot of relationships from CrossFit. It's unbelievable.
Me as well. I met my wife through CrossFit.
That's crazy.
I was coaching, broke one of the cardinal sins. I was coaching, and she walked into I believe it was like it was an early morning class. Can't remember what class, but I can remember what she was wearing, but I can't remember what class. But she walked into my class, and that's how we met. And the cardinal sin is you don't date, obviously,
your student
clients and your students and whatnot. But a little as we got to know each other, I was already on my way out the door because my really good friend George, who owns Nonstop CrossFit,
Okay.
I had mentioned it to him. I have mad respect for him. So I had told him, hey, this is a situation. There's somebody that I've met, and I would like to go out on a date with them. Although you're my friend, you're my boss. So I want to make sure that that's okay with you. And him knowing that I was already out the door, because I had already started the process of looking to see where I was going to open up my own facility. He gave me his blessing. But I met my wife there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you opened up your facility.
Did.
Let's talk about that.
It was awesome. We
CrossFit Prestige, right?
CrossFit Prestige.
So you went from training,
Yep,
to identifying, hey, you know what? I think I've got my own philosophy. I want to encourage people.
Yeah.
I want to lead on this.
Yeah.
I want to run my own business. Yeah. And let's talk about that journey.
Well, the beginning stages were tough. I don't know if I'm sure you're familiar, but if other people are familiar with the permitting process. Yeah. So the permitting process for us took about 8 months.
Oh God, what city?
It's unincorporated Miami-Dade where we were at. Like we were right on the border of like Miami-Dade and Aventura.
I don't like big government.
Unincorporated Miami-Dade. It took us 8 months and a lot more money than I had allocated for opening up the business.
It's like buying a house, dude.
Yeah.
It's whatever you think plus 50%.
Yeah, absolutely. It opens a can of worms. And
then you want to do it right.
Yeah.
And you want to do it nice.
Yeah.
So
and
the budget.
This is my first time ever opening up a business or taking anything on this big. So I'm nervous, and I want to make sure that I'm doing things right because I don't want them to come back and bite me later down the road in the future. I didn't want that. So I wanted to make sure I did things right, which I'm pretty sure lengthened the process a little bit more. But we never had a problem, so thankfully. But it did take a very long time, a lot of stress on me because I had a lot of people that had invested in me. And that was a big thing too. It wasn't just the financial aspect of it. It was the trust.
Correct.
That people
did you have investors who helped you financially?
My family. It was my family. It was my mom, my dad, and my aunt. They were the ones that invested in me financially. And I couldn't help but obviously shoulder that burden and that cloud hanging over my head the entire time, that here are these people that I love that have trusted me with the money that they've worked for years and that they've put away. Like that's a big weight for somebody to have on their shoulders.
No, it is. And it's funny because we have clients that they raise capital.
Yeah.
And they walk into rooms and they convince people on why you should invest in their company. And the amounts of pressure that comes with that is enormous, especially when it's family and friends.
Absolutely.
We have a friend of ours, I won't say names out of respect, that you know very well as well. He's doing great. He's opened up several facilities in town. And he has investors. Yeah. And I a lot of the responsibility that he feels is, he's got the return on investment for these people.
Yeah.
But it happens. But, at the same time, investors always need to know that they're also taking a risk.
Absolutely.
You're the brains behind the operation.
Absolutely.
But it's also a risk on them. But I understand, especially when it's your mom and your father and they're tapping into their savings account.
Absolutely.
And your aunt, that 3 people that are blood to you, that love you unconditionally, and you're saying, hey, let me get this started,
Yeah.
and let's see what happens. So it's funny because I want to hear more about this CrossFit. So how long did you have? When did this start?
We started the process in November of 2011, and then we opened up the doors officially August 12th of 2012.
Wow, hold on a minute. So you've had this facility now. You went 8 years with this thing?
Yeah. 8 years operationally, close to 9 years since we started the process. When we got in there and we started kind of knocking walls down, ripping the floor up to start to do like plumbing work and do all that stuff. So, and remember, it was an eight month process with the permits.
So let's call it 7 years.
Yeah.
Of full operation.
Well, 8 years.
8
8 years of full operation. Yeah.
How was that, bro?
It had its ups and downs. More ups than downs, definitely. And I wouldn't trade any of my experiences in life for anything.
What was your biggest challenge?
Ooh, my biggest challenge, I'll be honest.
Or challenges, like
yeah. There's a ton of challenges.
Let's talk about your downturns.
A bunch of challenges. The first one was learning how to really work with people, right? But from an owner's standpoint. Mm-hmm. Like I've been around people. I played ball. I've been part of teams, right? I've been around people. I'm an extrovert. I'm not an introvert. I like to talk to people. So that's not an issue, right? But now being the figurehead, okay, and the end all be all, right, of this business, learning how to really deal with people, learning how to listen to people, learning how to take criticism from people, right? About something that you've put in a lot of work on. All those things were difficult, and they were firsts for me. They were all firsts for me. Remember, opening up this business was a first for me. I had never done anything like this. I had never, other than working for my friends at another CrossFit, I had never really worked before. I'll be honest with you. I really haven't. I played baseball for a living. So all of this was a huge step for me. It's like I missed a lot of small steps along the way to get to this major step.
We all do, but it's funny how when you look, the fact that you had the guts to do that, you learned that on the field, dude. I mean,
I believed in myself.
Correct.
That's the thing. I wholeheartedly believed in myself.
Yeah.
I never once had a doubt as to I wouldn't succeed. Like I believed from day one, like I can do this. I know I can do this. And that's what led me to open up the gym.
So talking about CrossFit and gyms, the elephant in the room is how COVID has literally destroyed the fitness industry.
Yeah.
In some cases, it's funny. It's been the rise.
Yeah.
For a lot of like online platforms, whether it's Peloton or a virtual trainer, which I'm seeing more and more, to the death of a lot of smaller privately owned gyms.
Yeah.
You and I, before this podcast started, discussed about how you had to close down CrossFit, Prestige your CrossFit after 8 years. My assumption would be that COVID had a little bit of influence there too, or kind of the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it was the final nail in the coffin. It was definitely the straw that broke the camel's back.
So when did Arthur so you own this gym, you're becoming a business owner, you're learning to communicate with clients. I think us athletes, not all of us, but I mean, I'll speak on myself, it was very hard for me to communicate with people from a certain mindset, because I was so used to, hey, you're not good enough. I don't see that person, like I gotta work harder.
Gotcha.
You almost gotta go down to people's level, and I tend to see the best in people, so I'm putting them up here, and I'm not seeing the weakness. I'm more focused on elevating them. Yeah. Maybe you struggle with that as well, or the commitment of the clients and how much you actually care. But how did so you go through that whole process, COVID hits. Yeah. Why was that the final?
Well, before COVID hit,
okay,
right? Before COVID hit, we were we were dealing with a shift within the fitness industry, right?
Okay.
There was a shift in the fitness industry. There were a lot more online programming, online platforms that were being offered to people,
Okay.
right? At a much lower rate than what you would get at a facility like ours, right? You had that. Then you also had the growing fitness industry where you had a lot of the other micro gyms that were starting to open up, the Barry's boot camps, the Orange Theories, the Flywheels, the Solid Cores, you have all of those other ones there too that are very boutiquey, and they're offering, particular type of services as well, along with other CrossFits that are opening up. And mind you, remember, if you know, CrossFit doesn't have any boundaries as to where another one can open. So you can have one open up literally close to you, a block away from you, and it's the cream will rise to the top type of mentality, everybody for themselves and survival of the fittest type thing. But
do you agree with that mindset? From a corporate?
Not from a corporate standpoint. From a corporate standpoint, and now mind you, remember CrossFit, each gym isn't a franchise, it's an affiliate, right? So nobody tells us what to charge, what to wear, how to program, how to do things, how to do things in particular. Nobody says that. And that's one of the if anything, the
downfalls?
Not the downfalls, but if anything, no, that's one of the liberating things about owning a CrossFit gym is you're the captain of your ship type thing. You're using the name brand, but you're the captain of your ship. But still, for me personally, and this is my opinion, I do feel that if you are carrying a flag and you are branded, then that particular brand should have some type of guidelines as to where another one of their brands can open up. Because then it's like going into a food court, having 10 restaurants in the food court and having 9 of them be taco stands. You're going to have 9 of them fighting for the same amount of customers, and they're right next to each other. You get what I mean?
Yeah, and there's a lot of corporate companies that have that mindset.
Yeah.
And I think at the highest levels, they don't give a shit. You're paying your monthly. I'm not sure how it works, but I would assume that you have some sort of affiliation costs.
We do, yes. A yearly cost.
Which is all they must care about. I mean,
well, I honestly
that, or they're just not conscious of what.
Yeah, I think it was more so, and there's been a major shift, within CrossFit as far as who owns CrossFit now. A bit of a downfall from the previous owner and CEO Greg Glassman, but I think what it was.
That was a whole racial issue.
Yeah, it was that. It was.
But I heard he was having issues prior to that.
I'm sure. I mean. You never know behind closed doors. You never know what goes on. You really don't know. I mean, we live in an age where we take things at face value. We don't do a lot of research, our own research. And I always say that's the thing with social media is we tend to take things at face value.
Correct.
Rather than actually going in depth researching. Data, research. Before you can formulate your opinion on what's really going on.
Facts.
Yeah, the facts, exactly. Facts to me are everything. So what I think it was is it's very hard sometimes when you're at the top and you're not embedded in, the lower levels, right? You're not in the thick of things.
You don't have a pulse on it.
Correct. That sometimes you can lose sight of what's going on below you. Your bottom line. You can lose sight of that.
And does CrossFit, at the high, so you've got your corporate office.
Yeah.
Do they have regional managers that maybe are in charge of certain regions that visit you, kind of somebody who can relay the message to the top and say, hey guys, you know what? I was in South Florida. I mean, I have no idea, but I think I would do it. I was in South Florida. I visited 10 of our 50 facilities, and I found out that there's 2 or 3 concerns that are all kind of coming from the same. Yeah. Does that happen, or
they just started implementing that?
Yeah.
So as soon as the shift happened organizationally at the top, Dave Castro, who took over the CEO position for a very short amount of time, started implementing that.
Is he still around? Is Dave Castro?
Yes, I believe he is. Okay. And honestly, since we've closed our facility, I haven't been as in the news or in the know as I used to be. My mind has kind of shifted from being a business owner to being able to take advantage of the amount of time that we now have with our kids.
Were you spending a lot of time in the box, Arthur?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, but the first 2 years, I think I put in 75 to 80 hours a week for 2 years straight. I mean, you want to talk about like getting close to burnout. I mean,
did you almost burn out?
Oh, absolutely.
Were you stressed out of your mind?
Absolutely stressed out of my mind. Because it wasn't only financial stress, it was also stress from running the actual business itself. You know,
having to coach and
having to deal with people. And I caught myself a lot of times, you know, and thankfully my wife is always the voice of reason. She would kind of pull me aside sometimes because I would at times not be myself around other people within the business, meaning I would not necessarily snap on a client, but I would just answer them in a way that isn't me. You know me from college, and people who know me know that I'm not that type of individual. But the amount of stress that was mounting on me just kind of started to push me towards that breaking point.
It goes to show you that, I talk about this all the time, you have to take care of your mind. Your brain is a muscle. Yeah. And it's like if you went into the gym, and this is like a basic example, if you went into the gym and you did curls every single day,
at
some point you're just going to tear your bicep up. And it's the same thing with the mind. It's how you get anxious, how you get stressed, how you get depressed, because you're tired.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of hours. How many coaches did you have?
Well, at that time, it was just myself and my wife.
Oh my God.
That's it. And I was taking on.
So were you doing like 5 a.m.? Like how many classes a day were you coaching?
Yeah. So we would have, when we first opened up, we had a 7 a.m., an 8 a.m., a 9 a.m., a 1 p.m., a 5 p.m., a 6 p.m., a 7 p.m. So we were running all of that every single day, Monday through Friday.
He's a worker. He's always been a worker.
Yeah, Monday through Friday ourselves. And then we had Saturdays also that we ran 3 classes, 9, 10, and 11 as well. Sundays would be our rest day.
How many members?
Well, when we first opened up, we were around like the 30-member mark. So it was low. I mean, we were just opening up. But, I mean, the highest of highs, we got close to 200. We got close to 200, which is, by some people's standard, it's not anything out of this world, because there's some CrossFit affiliates that are running in the 600s plus, you know. Absolutely. I think CrossFit like Brooklyn or one of those in New York has like 1,000 something registered members. It's
in one facility.
Yeah, in one facility, I believe.
Wow.
It's absolutely insane. But for us though, we were successful in our minds. Using our metrics, we were successful. You know, so my wife and I, we were doing this ourselves for the first few years. My brother came on board after he got certified. And then just a natural progression. We had some individuals who are now amazing close friends of ours, family to us, who wanted to do the same exact thing. It was funny because it was the same process I had. It was client, wanted to coach, and then got into coaching, and they were the same exact thing. Client wanted to coach, and then we helped them become a coach, and then they helped us run the facility. So at our highest high, we had like 7 employees.
Wow.
Yeah. But that was way past the 2-year mark.
Wow.
Yeah.
So CrossFit, I mean, it changed your life.
It absolutely did. Like I said, I met my wife at CrossFit. Our daughter and our son grew up going to the gym. We have some of the closest friends to us that came from the gym, people that we still to this day talk to daily, people that we break bread with, you know, weekly. So absolutely, CrossFit. And not only that, the amount of people that I got to meet, not just from my facility, but from the community.
Yeah.
You know, I became friends with a lot of people because of the community.
What do you think the future of CrossFit looks like?
I don't know. I know what I hope it looks like.
What do you hope it looks like?
I hope it looks like something that won't be on every single corner, will be a little bit more special, each facility.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see trainers be looked at as professionals a little bit more, rather than just kind of like, a trainer, like an L1 trainer just kind of running a class. I've loved to see them be looked at as professionals a little bit more, maybe compensated a little bit more. So I would like to see it evolve, but I wouldn't like to. I don't want to see it evolve into 100,000 CrossFits in the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like to see it become something a little bit more, special.
How do you think? What do you think are the implications of COVID with CrossFit?
Oh my God, it's killed a lot of gyms. I mean, I there's many gym owners that I talk to on a weekly basis.
Do you think that they're at their final straw?
I don't know any of them that are doing well, to be honest with you. And you can talk to somebody, and you know how somebody might sugarcoat things and be like, yeah, everything's good, everything's great. There's not a single person I've talked to that's ever like, oh, things are phenomenal. They're like, no, things are tough. Things are tough. It's typically, if I get any positive responses, things are okay.
Yeah.
But okay isn't great. Okay is just okay.
And it's crazy because I think that gym atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody has a season in their life. Like for me, it was like I used to love it.
Yeah.
Now I have, like for instance, I have not an entire, but I have a gym in my house. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by a gym is like, I have my rack, I have my weights.
You have your essentials.
Correct. Yeah. I have my workout little facility, mm-hmm. and I love it because I get to use it at whenever I want and how I want. But I'm also in a different stage of my life. You know.
Yeah.
When I was 20-something years old, or in my early 30s, I love going to the gym. I love that atmosphere, and I don't think that AI or these virtual trainers or that or these. I don't know how effective that's going to be, because I think one of the beauties about I think CrossFit was more like a sport to me.
Yeah.
Than it was like a fitness sport. I mean, that's what it was founded on. But there's something like you being able to go there. Like, you have no idea. I have a CrossFit coach. His name is Andy Alonso. I love him dearly. And you have no idea how many times I spoke to Coach Andy. Nothing about CrossFit.
Yeah.
But it could be about work. It could be about family. It could be about anything. And I got more out of that. The CrossFit part was easy.
Yeah.
But I think that's the intentions of any trainer is, the relationships that you build. Absolutely. And it's almost, and I don't know that, I think that people are still going to want that. I do think that there's a big push with technology. I mean, look, I have a Peloton. I love the Peloton. Yeah. Again, I'm in a different stage. You would have given me a Peloton at 20-something years old. I don't give a shit about that. I like it now, but I'm 40. I run my business. It's all different. But even to this day, I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind going to the gym at least once a week or twice a week, and just a camaraderie. And I have noticed that I'm CrossFitting less and less.
Yeah.
I implement my lifts and stuff like that, but I'm not CrossFitting because,
it's hard on the body.
I'm not in that environment. No, dude, it's hard. It's definitely hard on the body. But so anyhow, where's Arthur going now? What's in the?
That's a good question. I have no idea. I gotta be honest with you. I don't know what the next stage in my life looks like. I really don't. I honestly don't. But the crazy part, here's the thing. I'm worried for the simple sake that I have dependents. I have my wife. I have my kids. Mm-hmm. Right? That's the only thing, to be honest with you, that might scare me. Is I, as the father, as the husband, as the protector, as the provider, as the man of the house, I want to make sure that I take care of them and they don't have to worry about anything. So that's what that if anything scares me, it's the unknown and the unknowable of, am I going to be able to do that?
It's crazy how men carry that, because I've always said that if I could live under a tree and survive, I will. Every decision that I make in my life right now is never about Fernie. No. I mean, it sometimes is, but it evolves. It evolves around. Absolutely. I can't just make a decision without thinking about my wife and my kids, right? and they're the number one. You know, I that's my number one job in life.
Absolutely.
So I can only imagine that it's got to be tough on you.
Yeah.
In many ways. How am I gonna? Where am I going?
Yeah.
Do you have an idea? Do you have a vision? Do you want to just leave the fitness community?
Here's the thing.
Or maybe you want to.
Here's the thing. My perspective has changed, right? And it's less about, for me, it's less about now what is it I'm going to be doing, and it's more about whatever I'm doing, is it going to afford me what it is I really want in this next stage in my life? And honestly, this next stage in my life, I want to be able to focus and concentrate on being more of a family man, being there more for my kids, being there more for my wife, and being able to take time off, go on vacation with them, spend time with them.
So this is about the third time you say that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a part of you that missed that.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, everything that consuming?
Was it that consuming?
Absolutely. It was very consuming. It was very consuming. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I really wouldn't, you know, because like I say, all of the experiences that we have lead you to where you are in that moment in your life. And I wouldn't change them for anything in the world, because there was so much positive that came out with it. You know, you have to take the good with the bad. You know, there's never anything that's just wholly good and it's just the way it is, you know?
Cup is always half full, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have to take the good with the bad. But yes, I did miss being able to be home with them. You know, my wife and I, when we were always on opposite schedules, right? So I worked the mornings for the most part. She worked the evenings. So we didn't have much time to be able to sit and eat dinner together. If anything, we never had time to be able to sit and eat dinner together as a family and whatnot, and, you know, breakfast and those things, because we were always on opposite schedules, you know? And I had the chance and the amazing chance to be an entrepreneur, open up my own business, and it was great. But now, this next chapter in my life, I want to be able to spend more time with my family. Now, what am I going to be doing? To be honest with you, I don't know.
Is your decision going to be based on some sort of schedule? Because from the outside looking in, you've proven that you can do this.
Yeah.
You've also made mistakes. You've also had successes, like we all do. I think whatever you put your mind into, you can do.
And I believe in myself, and I know I can.
Yeah, and I say that only because there is no better way of creating that time that you want to be with your family than kind of controlling your own schedule sometimes.
Yeah.
And I still think there's a lot of room in the fitness arena.
Absolutely.
And even with your baseball knowledge.
Yeah. That's something I've thought
about. There's such
a
lack of real solid instruction.
Yeah.
And there's such a high demand for it. I think you're going to see the rise, in my opinion. I've already seen it at one facility. And I'll say this. My first CrossFit experience was with Nick Alvarez. And Nick had CrossFits. But from the outside looking in, I used to wonder, damn, why doesn't Nick like do more stuff with baseball?
Sports, yeah, baseball.
Because he exudes that.
Yeah.
And now that I get to use his facility with my little son, and I see everything that's going on from the outside looking in, I'm like, damn, this guy hit it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like he found a niche. It's almost like it's natural, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's something like it's instructional. It's who he. I mean, this is just me from the outside. He enjoys it. He exudes it. He attracts it, and it comes natural. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also can see that on your end as a pitcher.
Yeah.
Dude, my son's in coach pitch. Arthur, you'd be shocked the shit that you see in coach pitch.
Yeah.
Right?
I can imagine, yeah.
No, it's crazy. But our group of people, we have a thing called Blueprint. It's run by Carlos de la Osada. Carlos, he played at Louisville, they ended up at Barry. Omar Falcone is there.
Yeah, I know Omar.
A lot of guys are there. Long story short, Javier Arteaga. You see these kids. I mean, and they all have their different professions. So I'm like, man, if somebody actually like implemented on the pitching side, or like, I don't know, it's just dude, you're in South Florida. There's a hotbed for that, and there's I'm gonna say this, I don't give a shit. You know what? There's a lot of facade and bullshit people out there charging these kids money,
big money.
That is like, why in the hell are these parents paying that guy
big money,
this amount of money? These people are nuts. Why not find a qualified person that actually understands mindset, understands preparation, understands character, and brings in a whole thing? I think there's a huge demand, unlike anything I've ever seen, because there's people coaching baseball that have, and again, I'm not the most politically correct guy in the world. They have no business doing it. And it's not that they don't know baseball. They don't understand this all trout wall, and I want to win, and my kid plays. I'm like, dude, you guys don't understand. A big leaguer is going to be a big leaguer because God made him to be a big leaguer. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a huge demand. And I think you should really.
I'm with you, and I'm smirking because it's something
like
that,
a facility, man. You know what I'm saying? Where people can go and train and like.
You're not the first person to mention that to me as well, by the way. And it's something that I'm
giving you confirmation.
I've thought about it. You know, I've thought about it, and I know that first. The great thing is I've been on both sides of the coin already. You know, I've done the baseball. I've been able to be successful in it. I mean, I got to play for a very long time professionally. I may not have made it to the big leagues. You know, I got to pitch in some big league spring training games, all right? But I had the experience and I understand it. I mean, there's a lot of coaches up in the big leagues that didn't play in the big leagues, you know, but they understand it and they were around the game so long that they know the game. And then I've been able to, for the past 9 years, actually 10 years, going on 11 years, be in the fitness industry. So I can understand both sides.
And understand how to balance a balance sheet. And how to screw up a balance sheet. And now I think if you take the passion that you have and you put that into kids, I think it's a no-brainer for you.
I would love to, because I absolutely enjoy kids.
And I think you're also going to spend time with your family.
That's, for me, that's you know, key number one. Like, that is the biggest thing. Like, we all have different priorities in our lives, and nobody is wrong for having whatever priority set number one. You know, nobody's wrong for it. But for me,
sitting here looking at you and seeing how you exude the love that you had for doing fitness, I think there's a part of you that says, man, I wonder what I just wonder what you could do. Like, if I would invest in you.
Thank you.
If you told me, Fernie, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm opening up a facility with kids. You understand? Because I think there's a demand for that.
I think so too. Listen, I've seen it more in the last, I don't know how many years, but parents willing to pay a premium for their kids to train, you know, to get instruction. And I've seen it for the last, and when I say premium, I mean premium, because I've seen and I've heard of some people paying like really high prices.
Yeah, and I think it's abusive.
Yeah, well, some of them can be. Yeah, some of them can be, for sure.
But yeah, Arthur, I again, man, I think there's a demand for that, dude. And you, with the knowledge and with the skill set that you had and what you learned, what you can share, and what the necessity that kids have nowadays, can be huge, bro.
The road's open. You never know. You know, one of the beauties, and I was saying this the other day to somebody, one of the beauties of the fact that I'm not doing anything currently right now is that possibilities are endless. You know,
did it
where
mold
it's
you?
Gonna take me. What mold me?
This whole situation.
This whole situation, what it's done to me is it's helped me understand, for me, where my priorities are, right? And it has, what it did do a little while back is I hit a point where I was at night sometimes really worried about what the future was going to look like. You know, I'd get anxiety at night. I wouldn't get proper sleep because I had just closed the business down. our only source of income, because my wife was part owner of the gym as well. So our only source of income. And I didn't know where I was going to go. But I can say this. I know if I get through this, right, it's just going to mold me into a better individual in every single aspect of my life moving forward. You know, it's funny, like everybody should always take their own advice. And one of the advice that I always give people when they're going through something is it'll be okay, because you've been down these paths before and you're still here. You're still here. So it means you've gone through things like this before. So you'll get through this as well, you know? So it has molded me, but it definitely... It's just gonna make me a better person. It's gonna make me stronger moving forward. I know that.
No, I see that, and there's two things that you can do in life. Mm-hmm. You can call it quit when things don't go well.
Yeah.
Or not as planned.
Yeah.
Or you can get back up,
mm-hmm.
look at yourself in the mirror, and say, you know what, this is what I did great, and this is what I did wrong.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
How do I move forward in my life now and apply the positive into my next chapter? Mm. And I think that the worry and the concern and the anxiety, I understand that because I went through it. That's why I have this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's nothing... I always say now, it wasn't easy back then at all. That was my... not that I wasn't a humble person, because I've always been a very humble person. Yes. At least, I mean, I'm not perfect, but I've always been that guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But it kind of brought me to my knees, mm-hmm. and it brought me really close to God, and it made me understand that, dude, you know what? Your drive and your ambition in life mm-hmm. is Denzel Washington. He gave a speech to a university, a graduating class, mm-hmm. and he said, you know what? The desire and the burning fire in your heart is God telling you it's already yours.
Yeah.
That spirit is there. The path is what sometimes we don't know how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
But my point is, you can take this experience and turn it into something very, very special.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's all in your mind.
Yeah.
Life is just one huge mind game.
Absolutely.
And again, I don't know. I'm gonna tell you again. I think you should really consider.
Well, I am gonna consider now.
Really consider.
I'll tell you that much. But you're absolutely right.
Some sort of instruction and fitness training tailored to young athletes. I think whether it's females or males, it doesn't matter. Soccer, you have the best of both worlds, man. Yeah. You're a pitcher mm-hmm. at heart, but you're also an athlete. Yeah. So you can teach a kid how to run the 60, and you can teach a kid how to the proper mechanics. I don't think that's very common.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
You have girls. You can play volleyball, and I think there's such a huge demand, and I'm not sure in the Aventura area if that even exists.
I don't think so. There's a couple facilities, but not tailored to what you're talking about. I will say that. Not tailored to what you're talking about. You know, and so it definitely is something I'm going to consider more, especially after this. Absolutely.
All right. I want to get invited to opening day.
Absolutely. But but once again, where I'm going, I don't know. But all I do know is this. I have control.
Are you excited about the future?
I am. I'm always excited about the future. Because...
it's kind of cool, right?
The unknown.
In some weird way, it's kind of cool to not know what's going to happen, but you kind of know it's going to be all right.
Absolutely. Because the unknown and the unknowable is scary, but at the same time, it's exciting. Because there's so many possibilities, you know? And as long as we just focus on the things that we can control. I know I can control my attitude, and I know I can control my effort. I know I can control those two things. And if I just...
and your preparation.
Yeah. And if I control what I can control, right, the rest will fall into place.
Why are you laughing?
Control.
Yeah. Preach it every day, because I talk to myself about it, because I like to control things. It's in my nature.
Yeah.
So I always remind myself, control what you can control.
Absolutely.
And I never did that as an athlete. My CEO always says the first time we ever met, we had dinner with my business partners and her. And she said the only thing that's constant is change. And that's a fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something that I carry all the time. To wrap this up, what would you tell 18-year-old Arthur Santos?
And it's funny because you put on the Transition Podcast Instagram, you had put that exact same thing, right? And I had put, you know, it'll be okay. Like everything's gonna be okay, right? But if I were to elaborate on that, I would also put, just make sure you bust your butt at whatever it is you decide to do, right? The great Jimmy V coach, basketball coach, always said, if you don't work hard, I can guarantee you won't be successful. But if you work hard, you only raise your chances of being successful, right? So success isn't guaranteed. But if you work hard, you at least put yourself in line to the greatest path to be successful. So I would just tell my 18-year-old self, just bust your tail, because I can tell you this much. There's been many times throughout my life where I let my guard down a little bit. I didn't work as hard as I should have, and I didn't reach certain goals, or I didn't reach my full potential because of that. So I would just tell myself, hey, things are gonna be okay, but just make sure you bust your ass.
It's a wrap.
Simple as that.
Thank you, bro.
No, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I hope you had a little fun.
Absolutely. I always like doing these things.